Everybody, Facebook Live with Steve Domenico in the room. Tonight, our special guest will be calling in tonight. The man, the myth, Jimmy Burchfield Sr. is going to be calling in tonight. Big event coming this Friday night. We got CES Boxing in the house at Twin Rivers, February 23rd. Bright lights, big fights. The first event of 2018 for CES Boxing. And I got Jimmy Burchfield Sr. coming on to talk a little bit about this event, a little bit of what's in store for 2018. A lot of people that are fighting on this card coming in from out of state, plus a lot of our local fighters on this card. Big names, a lot of young talent, a lot of veterans, a lot of people are going to be in this house this Friday night. And I'm so excited to have Jimmy on this show. We're going to get some insight, really get front lines of boxing, because Jimmy and the Burchfield family have been in boxing for over 25 years. This past December 2017, they had their 25th anniversary of CES Boxing, a big event. It was on Go Live, and it just blew up. So, and as usual, CES Boxing is around the world, around the country. So, we got another big event coming here this Friday night. My voice is a little sore, a little hoarse. I did call some boxing matches this past Saturday for Brawl for It All. It was my first ever sports commentary. If anyone knows me, and of course you know Domenico 101 MMA, that I promote a lot of MMA mostly. The young up-and-coming talent. And these kids are my babies, man. I've been following MMA my whole life. It is my bread and butter. But I want to give back to boxing because we have a lot of boxing fans and boxers in and out of these MMA gyms. And I want to give them as much love as I give the MMA community. I want to get involved deeply in CES Boxing, all the other boxing around New England, and finally give these up-and-coming kids a platform to talk, to get interviewed, to come on a live podcast, to do all what they need to get their names out there and blow up the boxing community even more than the Burchfields and other promotions around our beautiful New England area. And just get us more out there and have New England as a huge focal point for not only boxing, CES, MMA. We want them to come here, and we want the eyes on New England, CES Boxing, because they are the gateway to the world, basically. They're signing MMA fighters and boxers all over the biggest promotions in the world. And it's just growing more. My job is basically to get the word out just in the way I can with my followers and the kids I promote. And I want more. I never stop working. I love doing it. And to have a chance to interview and have Jimmy Burchfield Sr., a pioneer in the boxing world, come on my show and actually chat a little bit and talk about his event is basically probably the biggest interview I've had yet. So I'd like to give a shout out to the Burchfields and all the people that came and made this come to life for me, because this is a big opportunity. As you all know, I cover a lot of MMA, but CES is my bread and butter. Their guys are launching out into the UFC, and that's the biggest promotion in the world for MMA. And it only been a few years that they've been covering MMA and doing it, and look where it's going. They are the gateway. So I'm going to be jumping on the boxing also, and I'm going to be helping them in my way get that out. So I had a conversation with Jimmy Sr. today, and we're going to just flow tonight. And I'm learning as you people are learning. My job is to get my MMA guys crossed over and fans in the MMA and get them into boxing and vice versa, because we all train together at some point. There's a lot of MMA fighters that go to boxing camps, get some rounds in with these boxers. I had Michael Valentin, Bling Bling, on yesterday on my podcast. We talked about boxers fighting MMA guys coming and getting work. And, we had a very lengthy conversation about that. So tonight, I'm going to talk to Jimmy and kind of just get tutored on boxing, because like I said, I'm kind of new to this game and I want to learn because I have passion. And if I learn this game, I'm just going to blow up with it, just like I did with MMA, and give my passion back to it and represent these kids. So, I'm going to have Jimmy on in about 5 minutes. I'm going to give him a call. And this is a go live, but I have my assistant here. She's going to be womaning the feeds. And, keep it PG out there, people, because some of my past podcasts have lit up the internet, and they're still being shared all over by the comments. I want you to get busy. I want you to share this. I want you to like it, because the more you like this, the more you share it, the farther CES gets out there, the farther the names that are going to be mentioned tonight get out there, the farther the event gets out there. And people, this is New England. CES is all over the world, but this is New England. This is my little part of it. Let's get it out there, and let's blow it up the way I know and you know how to do it. I'm excited. You guys can, maybe after Jimmy gets off the phone, I'm going to talk to him about 20-25 minutes. After he gets off the phone, I'm going to have a couple of phone calls come in if you'd like. I'll answer a couple of questions in there. But like I said, I have my assistant off to the side. And she's checking the feed. She's going to, relay a couple of questions to me if they're legit questions. No ridiculous stuff out there. This is Jimmy Burchfield Sr. on the phone tonight. And I'm sure you have a lot to say, a lot to hear. So chat it up amongst the comments. Talk about the fights that are going to be happening. We got Joe Kasuma. I'm saying their names wrong. This dude's Italian. But he's Kasumo and Latham. Ray Oliveira Jr. Oh, and I actually have, I'll talk about in a little while, because I'm excited. I got a couple of things to give away tonight. CES Boxing, Jimmy Burchfield. They have given me 2 tickets to give away tonight. So I'm going to be asking a question tonight. And the first right answer, the first correct and thorough right answer will get the 2 tickets to this Friday's boxing event at CES. So I'll be asking that question sometime during our phone call, or maybe after the phone call. But like I said, chat it up. I'll be letting you call in, or I'll be talking to a special guest if they want to call in after Jimmy gets off the phone. But for that time, Jimmy will be the main focus, because this is a big to-do, getting that event out there, which it already is. I had Bling Bling on the show yesterday. He told me he sold 150 tickets on his own. We got Anthony Marcello Jr. coming in. He just fought on the December 7th fight card. He sold half the place out. This card is a ticket seller, a big event for cable, which is going to be aired live on Facebook Live. Jimmy will be giving that information out. So this is something everyone's going to see around the world. They're going to see these boxing talents from New England and beyond, all over the country, the world, and mostly blowing up New England, because that's where it's happening. Twin Rivers in Lincoln, Rhode Island, the home of CES Boxing, the home of CES MMA, and the home for me, because I feel at home on there. Like I said, I cover the CES MMA events all the time, talk to their fighters, interview their fighters, hang with their fighters, train with their fighters. Now maybe I'll get some a boxing round in here and there with one of these boxing talents coming up. Maybe we'll go live that. One of them beat me up. But I got a couple of pictures back here. That's what I want to talk about a couple of minutes before I have Jimmy on. I have a couple of pictures. I'm going to give them away also. I'm going to weigh-ins tomorrow. I'll be at CES Boxing Weigh-ins. They're taking place at 4 o'clock. I'll be going live with them. I'm sure Jimmy Sr. and Jimmy Jr. will have a production crew there. last time I went to their weigh-ins back on December 6th, they had the news there. They had cameras everywhere. So those weigh-ins will be everywhere. I'll be coming back to you with some little, sound bites. Maybe talk to Jimmy Sr. there in person, get some pictures. But these pictures right here, I'm going to frame them after I get them signed. I'm going to have Jimmy Jr. and Jimmy Sr. sign these along with whoever else is there. And I'm going to give both of them away. And I'll let you know how that's going to happen. Maybe I'll have a contest tomorrow from the weigh-ins for these pictures. So stay tuned for that. So we got a couple of things to give away. Not only CES boxing tickets for this Friday night, but we also got a couple of pictures. I'm going to have them signed. And we're here. So I just want to show you a couple of pictures because this is the event, people. This is the event. And this is one of the pictures that will be signed, along with this one and Will Paul, CES's boxing and MMA photographer, takes the most fabulous pictures. I added a couple little things to this, and we're going to have Jimmy Sr. sign that. And then, for another lucky fan, we got my little creation where I use a little bit of everybody's stuff along with mine. I'll have that signed. And actually, I have an extra one that will go in the room, and I'll stop pinning these up as I get more guests. So I got a lot of things going on today. We thought a lot about the show. I want to give a couple things away. I want to give back to New England and their fighters. And as I said, I lost my voice Saturday night at Burchfield 05. Great event, another boxing event, and the all amateur event. And some of these boxers could end up at CES someday because there was a lot of talent there, a lot of up-and-coming boxers, a lot of boxing camps that have pros fighting for CES and beyond. So all these little promotions or big promotions that do amateur bouts, they're a big deal. They're they're scouted by the bigger guys. So that is our future, along with CES, which is the big future. So it's kind of a ladder here. We start here and we go up and we make it to CES and then beyond. So with that said, it's 7:14. Anything?
Yeah, Antonio Bassano wants to know when you're fighting.
Antonio Bassano, my co-worker, guaranteed I will make it somewhere, either in a ring, a cage, or a jiu-jitsu match sometime. I'm telling you. There's a lot of people want to call me out, Antonio, and there's a couple I want to call out myself. But that's not something I'm going to do online. That's going to be thought out, and it's going to be a big to do if it happens. If it happens. So keep your ears and eyes open because I could attack anyone. So with that said, I'm going to give Jimmy Sr. a call now and get him on the phone. Talk amongst yourself. If you didn't share it now. Oh, also, join my pages, Domenico 101 MMA, The Room Podcast. These are all Facebook pages. I have a YouTube channel, Domenico 101 MMA also. And I have videos of CES Boxing, CES MMA. I have interviews with most of the CES's local talent and beyond. So jump on there. You'll see some fight video. You might even be in one of the videos that I caught at one of their events. So I'm going to give Jimmy Sr. a call right now, and we're going to get this going.
Hello?
Mr. Burchfield, how are you, buddy?
Hey, how are you?
I am doing excellent. Buddy, Jimmy Sr., this is an honor for me to have you actually come on my podcast and actually let me chat with you a little bit. Thank you so much.
Well, I want to tell you it's an honor for me to be on your podcast, and as a young man and all you're doing for the sports of MMA and boxing and helping some of these young future champions, I love you for it.
Thank you very much, Senior. Senior, you're a very busy man. You got a big event coming on Friday. You got weigh-ins tomorrow. This is your first event of 2018. You had your 25th anniversary back on December 7th. What's going on? What's been going on since December and this big event for 2018?
Well, as you know, we're one of the only national promotional companies that have two divisions. MMA, one of the fastest growing sports in the world, and live championship boxing. So it's not our first event. We had our first MMA event on February 2nd that Rhode Island's own Greg Ribs Rebello won the heavyweight world championship. So this is our first premier live championship boxing event for 2018, and we're very excited about it. It's probably one of the best cards we've ever brought here in a long, long time, because it's up and down the lineup. There's so many stories that are just unbelievable. And going back to our 25 years of doing what we do, we're looking to start with 2018, our next 25 years, led by my son Jimmy Jr., Michael Parenti, Pat Sullivan, Fred Blank, and our newest member, which is just an unbelievable talent, Mike Cicerone. So we're ready to go Friday night to really bring some excitement here to Rhode Island.
Excellent. And you named a bunch of most of your big time crew that helps you out is your family, by blood and by just being involved with you over the years. You mentioned Michael, who contacted me. What is he? He's your newest member. What has he been doing for you? Because I think his son actually boxed for you. Am I correct?
No. Michael actually loves the sport. Usually you get a talented person who loves boxing and knows boxing, and you get a talented person who loves MMA and knows MMA. Michael knows both, and it's very, it really shows in the results, as you are doing with your podcast. When you love something, you're good at it, you enjoy it, that everything comes out, that enthusiasm comes out as you're working. But I really, when they say this is Jimmy Burchfield's Classic Entertainment and Sports, it is this team that I just mentioned. We got the best, most intelligent young leaders in this sport of boxing and MMA, and Jimmy and Pat and Michael Cicerone and Fred Blank. I'm honored to have them, and they're good, they're coachable, they've learned a lot from all these experiences. And one of the greatest things in this business is that no matter how long you've been in it, it seems like every event there's something new that comes up that you've never seen before. So let's talk a little bit about, if you don't mind, Friday night. And tomorrow I want everyone to know is that if you've never been to a weigh-in, if you've never been to a live weigh-in, you have that opportunity tomorrow, right at beautiful Twin River Casino and in the Wicked Good. That we have complimentary food after. You get to see how an actual weigh-in, sometimes people don't really understand what a fighter, whether it's a boxer or an MMA fighter, what they have to go through to get ready for the fight. The fight is easy, but to make weight, and you have to sign a contract, and you have to make weight. You get your last medical examination. So we really don't have a complete card until all of that's done at the weigh-in and rally and press conference that we'll be having tomorrow at 4 o'clock at beautiful Twin River Casino.
Excellent. Jimmy, I will be there. I went to your last weigh-ins on December 6th for your 25th anniversary. Like you said, it's a great opportunity for the public to come in to actually get that close to pro boxers who are shining all over the country, and to actually, like you said, see these athletes in their own world, and what you actually put on as an event and a weigh-in. I mean, you invite the public, you air it live, and it's a great experience just to get in there and see how the inner workings of a top promotion kind of it makes it work.
Well, really, you don't get too many opportunities to be able, as a fan, to see things like this. They're very exciting, and you actually see what the fighters are going through. And Rhode Island has a law. It's not like this in every state, but Rhode Island has a law that whatever your contract rate, weight is when you sign in to fight. And we can't call all the shots. We're regulated. We have to obey all the laws and safety and everything else we've got to follow. And I think it was one of the reasons we made such a jump when we finally said we're going to go into the MMA world approximately 9 years ago. We were regulated, so we knew what we had to do. And a lot of the promoters in MMA at the beginning, they were not regulated. They didn't know all this stuff. So it was easy for us because we followed all the rules. But when you see these fighters, and the rule that Rhode Island has, you can only go on the scale once. So let's say that you signed a contract at 147 pounds, and you get on that scale and you weigh 147 and a half, there's no fight because you didn't make weight. Now, other states give you an hour or two to make weight. Not in Rhode Island. You got one time up on the scale. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure. And I can see you, if you're there at a weigh-in and you actually see this, and you see what the fighters are going through and waiting, to get up on that scale to get everything, their fluids and everything back into their body. It's really you'd enjoy watching this, and it's such a relief when the fighter gets on the scale and makes his weight, and then can re-nourish himself and reload up and get ready to have something to eat. So we invite the public. We want the public there. The 25 years, there is nothing in this business I haven't done. From walking in at the beginning, carrying a water bucket and fixing cuts and wrapping hands and working corners and refereeing and judging. And I guess you got to say that you got to love what you do, and I do love what I do. And it shows in how we put these shows together. We just did a show in Philadelphia with our number 4 in the world, Hank Lundy, in Philly, and boy, we had to be a little careful there because they're still celebrating out there. So when they say, "Hey, Jimmy, you're in Patriot country," but I gotta say the truth, they respect Tom Brady tremendously, which they should. But they're still celebrating out there.
Excellent, my friend. All right, Jimmy, let's get to, you talked about the fight before the fight. Let's talk about the event, because I did butcher a couple of names here, and I want you to talk about some of the stars that are going to be coming here, because a couple of these fighters are coming off wins from December, and they're fighting again on your card now in 2018. So let's talk a little bit about some of these stars you got coming in.
Well, I'd like to, first of all, mention the main event of the night. It's for the WBU Intercontinental Belt. It's a very big opportunity for these two young fighters, and it is the main event, and it's Prince Ray Oliveira from New Bedford, Massachusetts, fighting Edwin Soto from New Haven, Connecticut. These guys have both got almost identical records. Edwin is 11-2, and Oliveira is 9-1. And what's interesting with this fight, and this is what keeps my motors running, is that Prince Ray Oliveira's father, anyone following boxing would know the name Suka Ray Oliveira. one of the greatest champions ever, and he fought for us. Now his son is fighting for us, and that makes me that just makes me very, very happy. That's a toss-em fight. That's a big fight. It's a toss-em fight, and the co-feature for boxing fans that really follow boxing, the heavyweight champion, the former heavyweight champion from Brockton, Mass, Rocky Marciano, he fought in Rhode Island 27 times. And we signed a big Sicilian heavyweight. You got to see this kid. He's 6'5", and there's no doubt that he's 100% Italian. His name is Giuseppe Angelo Cusimano, and he's fighting for his 4th time here in Rhode Island, and he's fighting a very, very tough guy who's 9-1. And that is going to be a very explosive fight, because the fighter 9-1 that's coming here to fight Giuseppe he's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His name is Fred Lapham. He's 9-1 with 5 big knockouts. That's a very, very exciting fight. And then let's get to some of these stars that when we go back and we look at the Peter Manfredo's Juniors and the Gary Tiger Bolettos and the Sucre Oliveras and all of these fighters that brought so much on the female side, Jamie the Hurricane Clampert and Missy Fiorentino, I want to drink that. I think that these are the stars coming up. We have a young fighter, great story, by the name of Anthony Marcella Jr. He comes from Smithfield, Rhode Island. Went to Smithfield High School. He lost his mom when he was around 5 years old, and I'm very impressed with this guy. And Rhode Island is very impressed with him because he sells half of the arena out, and very exciting fighter to watch, and really you got to watch where he's going to go. He packs up, he goes to Floyd Moneyman's Mayweather in Las Vegas and trains at his gym, leaves his family here because he is serious about his career. And I want to give him out some love, and I'm hoping that he sees and hears your podcast, because today's Anthony's birthday.
Happy birthday.
I told him, I told Anthony today, well, I can wish you a happy birthday, but we'll celebrate Friday night after your big, big victory. So we're looking forward to that.
And he's coming off he's coming off a first round knockout, correct? In December 7th.
Exactly.
Okay.
Were you there for that fight?
I sure was there. That's where I met my man Bling Bling and a lot of your friends.
A vicious body shot that he knocked his fighter out with. It was kind of like, for the old boxing fans, Irish Mickey Ward from Lowell had a kidney shot that, him and Arturo Gotti, the wars that they had, and if you look back and look in YouTube and stuff and see some of these fights that they had, that's the kind of punch that Anthony scored this terrific knockout. There's another young man, I think you interviewed. I want to tell you, I love all these kids. They become part of my family, and I was very impressed, and I took the time, and I want you to know, no matter when you need me to come on to anything you're doing, I'll be there, because I was impressed what you told me. You don't do this here for the money pot, but you do this to help these young and future fighters, and, teaching them the business side. We did a big radio show in New Bedford yesterday, and getting the fighters there and letting them understand how important it is to market themselves. And if people don't come and see them, and you don't fill the arenas up, well, then nobody's in business any longer. So, and I was very impressed that both Prince Ray Oliveira, and his opponent selling bunches of tickets. I think today we had to put 100 standing room tickets on sale at the Twin River box office. So Friday night is going to be the only place to be to see this major live championship boxing, our premier boxing show for 2018. Now I want to tell you about another young fighter. You got to watch this kid, and you'll see him tomorrow. He's a special young man. His name is Jermaine Ortiz. He's from Worcester, Massachusetts. He's a carpenter in the union. There's a big job going on Canal Street in downtown Providence, and the pipe fitters, the iron workers, the carpenters, everybody's coming. They bought 100 tickets to come and see this fighting union guy fight. He looks a little bit, he fights a little bit like Oscar De La Hoya. He's got the moves of a Sugar Ray Leonard. He switches, he can box, he can punch. He had over 120 amateur fights, went to the Olympic trials. Don't forget that name, Jermaine Ortiz. He's something really, really special. But I want to go back to our young guy, Mike Valentine, 18 years old. I hope that he shared some of the things that he's going through in his life with you on your podcast or your interview with him earlier.
Yeah, Jimmy, we went right through that. We talked a lot about, he's going to be going into an operation after this fight. We talked all about that, and, everyone knows Bling Bling's story and what he's been through, but why don't you give us a recap about, because you know him a lot more than us.
Well, I think that, I don't want to get into the medical part of this because I would want him to explain, but, if anyone knows anything about ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease or any of that stuff, well, double it, and that's what this kid's been through. Half of his life, he's been in the hospital. He fights with a colostomy. It's unheard of. I've never heard of it before in my life. And this kid he is so special. There's something very deep in my heart for him. Yes, and he's got to go in and have his complete colon removed, a major surgery after this fight. So we're really, really rooting for him, and I hope that your interview with him went perfect. He is so colorful. If any of your listening audience remember Macho Camacho, that's what this kid is. He's got so much flash, and he's so enthused, and never in a million years did he ever think that he was going to be able to turn pro and treat. Just watching him fight alone is buying him the ticket. So we're tremendously happy, and we're going to be rooting for him to have a big victory Friday night. And then I want to talk about this young man that's going to make his Rhode Island premiere appearance. This kid has been waiting a long time to show everyone his talent. My God, you want to talk about flash? His name is Nicky DeQuattro. He's undefeated. He's 2-0. I mean, he's got a combination of a lot of different fighters that came into the ring. He loves the sport. He started off a little late. Tiger Boletto, Jr. and Sr., very close to him. There's so many people that are in his corner that mean a lot to Rhode Island, and we're excited because this is the first time he's going to be fighting in Rhode Island. He fought 2 of his fights when he turned pro out of state. So everyone, everywhere I go is talking about Nicky DeQuattro.
Mm-hmm. And you talk about him, he's got some flash in him too. I mean, not as much as the bling bling, but he's got like you said, he's got that pizzazz not only in the ring, but his persona that he carries around is an exciting persona, correct?
He's got a chip on his shoulder, and I'm sorry, how Bling Bling's got his flash. This kid is just unbelievable. I mean, you're gonna see something special. I can't wait to see him in the ring. I mean, not only in the ring, but out. You know, he knows that this is the only run that he has because he's up there in age a little bit. He's always wanted to do this, and you know, he knows just what to do. He knows how to market himself, and he knows how to fight.
And you spoke about, you know, the Bolettos, with them behind his back, you know, behind him. Them are two big names, not only names, but, you know, competitors also in both sides of, you know, the cage and the ring. So that's a big backing he has.
Well, you know, it's a tremendous, and Gary Jr. and Nikki, they love each other, and you know, I do wanna touch on that a moment because I want to wish Gary Batman Boletto Jr. and his wife, they just had a beautiful baby boy, and I told Gary Sr. and Jr., I said, well, I guess I got to stick around a little longer because we got another champion coming up.
Yeah. Jimmy, you got another 25 years that you gotta keep going over here with this boxing. So you're gonna be around a long time for them.
Well, I think with the staff that I have and that I'm happy with, and you're going to see, you know, you got to kind of mold as you're doing right now. And 10 years ago, 5 years ago, what you're doing, nobody even heard of. Nobody heard of this. I mean, where we are with social networking and everything. So these younger guys are right in tune with all of that, and we're never going to get old. We're always going to be up on our game, and we're always going to give the fans, you know, why I want them to come to the weigh-in tomorrow, and as many that can, and if they're working, you know, the paperwork starts around 4 o'clock, but the actual weigh-in, where the fighters get up on the scale and everything, is closer to 5. So if they want to come after work, they're welcome to come there. And again, we have complimentary food that we put out. But the you know, tonight is a very anxious night for me because, you know, I have to also understand that tomorrow, you know, a lot of the fights, I mean, there's some different components and timelines here. While a fighter is training to get ready for a fight, there's all the sparring and everything. And, you know, you've been around this enough. You know the things that can happen with sparring. Fighters can get injured and everything. So I'm always happy around that Saturday, the week before the fight, because I know sparring is over. So that's one part out of the way. But until the weigh-in and the medicals and the weight and everything else that goes on tomorrow, that's when the fights really happen.
Exactly, Jimmy. Jimmy, as soon as, you know, they read them weights, that's when you can take a little breather. And, you know, take a breather and then get ready for the main event, you know, the big event on Friday. But, yeah, like you said, it's a stressful situation, not, you know, for you, because you could lose a fight here and there. And like you said, they're not training hard in this week coming up. They're, you know, cutting weight here and there. They're not getting beat up in the ring. But like you said, anything can happen between, you know, in that week leading up to weigh-in. So, yeah, it's understandable that you are anxious tonight.
Oh, yeah, I'm very anxious. You know, we've got a lot of the out-of-town fighters flying in today. I mean, this isn't, you know, putting a small event together. This is Major League, and there's a lot of components. So there's fighters at times that have missed their plane and they don't get here. So it's a very stressful time. It's not something that is easy to do. But listen, when there's something you want to do and you challenge yourself to do it. And, you know, there's nothing better that makes me happy is the night of the fight, that there's good fights, the arena is filled up. I mean, we are probably one of the only promotional companies that have our series all tied up for the year. No matter how long you've been doing this, and how big of a promoter you are, you get one event at a time. And if you do well, then you'll get another date. We have our schedule set for boxing and MMA a year ahead because we're a proven commodity, and and we got to keep that we got to keep that going as the years go on here also.
Excellent. Hey, Jimmy, do you have time for a question? Someone's asking a really good question that I think it's actually one of your fighters asking a question. So can I
I told you earlier today, I'm yours.
All right.
I will answer any questions, and I'll be on here as long as you want me to.
All right, my friend, what's the question?
Jarrett Kelly's asking him to tell about his history with Ali when he came to Providence.
Jarrett Kelly from I can't remember the source, but what's the question again?
He wants him to tell about his history with Ali when he came to Providence.
He wants to know your history with Ali when he came to Providence.
Oh, it's a great story.
Here we go. Awesome.
It's a great story. Thank you for asking me that question. It's a great story. So I formerly owned a classic restaurant, one of the best restaurants in all of New England. And you never knew who was coming there on any given night. In fact, it's going to be reopening soon under a very good operator that's going to be taking over the classic. But he called me and told me he was coming in town, and he wanted to have dinner. He was doing a charity event in Boston, and we came into the classic, and he came into the classic. We had him picked up in a limousine, and there was a part of the classic that was a roped off area. Like, it was our most elegant room that we had. It was called the Elegier room. And we roped it off, and there's about 20 people up there, and Muhammad's up there, and I'm sitting next to him, and now people are starting to recognize that it's him. And I said, he said, "Jimmy, are these your customers?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Take the rope down, let them come in, I'll sign autographs, I'll take pictures with them." And he did. Then he went to the bar later, and we had a shift change. Like, the day bartender were leaving and the night people were coming on, and we had this bartender by the name of Debbie. She was a big Muhammad Ali fan. Now, she has no idea Muhammad Ali is going to be there. So Muhammad goes and sit at the bar, and she's got her back to him, and she turns around and says, "Can I help you?" And I swear I never seen anything like it in my life. I thought she was going to faint when she seen that it was Muhammad. He got behind the bar and took pictures with everyone. And then when it kind of settled down a little bit, he said to me, "Jimmy, I want you to take me to the worst place in Rhode Island where my people will be at." And I said, "Okay." So there was a bar near Rhode Island Hospital, and it was a men's bar, and we went down there, and we walk in. Half of the people have got their heads on the table. They've had too much to drink and everything, and no one even recognized Muhammad. And finally someone did. I never seen anything like it in my life. He sat down with each one of them. He gave every one of them a $50 bill. It was one of the greatest things and he talked to them. He was so sharp on how he could just relate to people. I don't care if you were an Ivy League graduate or if you just got out of prison, or it didn't matter. He knew how to converse with you. That's why he was so great in the ring also. He was we've had Sugar Ray Leonard here in Rhode Island many times, and he's a dear friend of mine. But that Muhammad Ali, situation was one of the greatest experiences I ever had in my life.
Excellent. You know what? I want to thank Jared Kelly. I think he actually fights. He writes for Fight Book, who cover MMA for CES. He'll be at.
Yeah. He does a good job too with it, and tell him he's got to keep. If he keeps up, I'm probably going to get in trouble a little bit here. But I got a few MMA special fighters that I just love, and of course. Gary the Batman Boletto is one of them, and Dennis Piper from East Providence, and Rico DeSciulio, and seeing the job that the team has done, and get our fighters without our template, without our mountain to climb. And one of the things my son Jimmy has done, he was able to take such a name as Mark Cuban in with one of his TV programs and Access TV and give these kids a platform. I mean, Andre Sukumar, he's in a major UFC fight. I think it's this week or next week.
He's fighting on the Cyborg card, a big.
That big fight.
Yeah.
And without the team, and here's one of the things that I think the difference with CS, whether it's boxing or MMA, most promoters will throw a fighter away once they get beat. And we understand, knowing the MMA and boxing, a boxing defeat means a lot more ratings-wise than an MMA defeat. You see some of the MMA fighters that can have 7-8 losses and still be on the top of their game when they turn it around. But you got 7-8 losses in boxing, and it's hard to climb that mountain. One of the things that I've preached to the team is, listen, as long as these fighters are loyal to us and they give the fans their money's worth, we're not throwing them away. Mm-hmm. We'll give them the opportunity to make a comeback. And Greg Rebello, we've done that 2 or 3 times with him. That Dennis Piper, the same thing. And in boxing, I had a kid that his son is fighting for me, Scott the Sandman Permanente. You have to go back on YouTube and look at Scotty from New Bedford, Massachusetts, fight Omar Shika at Foxwoods Casino. That was the fight of the year. Scotty only had 12 amateur fights, and we got him to the WBC World Championship. So we've been able to when I look back, and sometimes it's a challenging day, and there's a lot of bumps in the road and everything, and here's what I take a deep breath and look at all the great experiences that I had. And one of my judging days, I always wanted to go back to my country in Italy, where my ancestors came from, and I could never do it. When I was judging world title fights, I went out there 3 different times. I got a granddaughter that's in Rome now at her college, and I'm so excited for her to see some of them things that I seen and that boxing allowed me to see.
Excellent. Hey, Jimmy, I got one more question, and I'm going to ask you, a little bit about the event, and then I'm going to let you go because I know you got a lot to do. But you talked about these up-and-coming fighters that, you are basically a scout, because when I talk to these fighters, you are the gentleman that talks to them and says, "Hey, I see potential," along with your team. But you are the man in the boxing, in the boxing world here. As far as these young fighters, what do you look for? Do you watch, there's a lot of local boxing events happening around the area. You get your boxers from the local scene at these smaller venues. Like we just had a event last Saturday, Bro for It All. They had some up-and-coming boxers on there. Do you look around at other promotions for potential that could fight for CES down the line?
Well, always. We have scouts all over. We have scouts in Puerto Rico. We have scouts in Germany. We on the local scene, as someone that's kind of close with us, as a professional level of how we do our work, as far as in the boxing and the MMA, and it's relationships. This kid, Jermaine Ortiz from Worcester, came to me with someone that I had done business with in the amateur divisions, and we also get people like Rich Capiello, who's been doing a lot of the amateur fights, and he does the Marciano tournament and all of that, and he may say, hey, Jim, you should come and take a look at this kid. And so we've got that right now, tonight and tomorrow night. There's a big, it's not on the template of what you're talking about Saturday. It's all amateurs, because you got to get your amateur card and your status and all of that. But in Lowell, the New England amateur finals are tonight and tomorrow night. And there's a kid we're looking at by the name of Ronaldo Ranazzo that we're going to be signing, and hopefully he can win this tournament between tonight and tomorrow. So that's a great question. Where we listen. One of the things that I will do is if there's something, this is what I do. This is my life. This is my business. I mean, I've sacrificed my family an awful lot of times because of this business. And if there's something that I know that, when a fighter says to me that, Jim, we want to come with you, we want to be with CES, the first question I ask them is, why do you want to fight? If they say anything less than I want to be a world champion, we're not going to go any further with that. If they say, well, do you know what it takes to be a world champion? You have to be a freak. You have to sacrifice more than you could ever think. If you're going to take the sport of boxing, then the only thing more important than the sport would be your family. And that's when you see, because a lot of kids want to fight. When they get punched in the nose the first time, they probably are not going to go back to the gym, because it hurts when you get punched in the nose. so but that's what we look like. And it means an awful lot to me also of what their thinkings of life are. What is going to be their loyalty factor? What is going to be their respect factor? Do they know how to act in their personal life? I love kids that are going to school and are educated, and as well as the kid that school wasn't for him. But if you see that hunger and that enthusiasm, you can see it. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it that they really want this, and they're hungry for it. And it's not that to say, hey, I'm going to tell all the girls that I'm a fighter and they're all going to come running after me. Because sometimes you have someone that wants to fight for that reason.
Yeah.
No, but to really fight. And remember something, that a boxer or an MMA fighter, they have no teammate in that cage or that ring. They don't have no teammate. They don't have nobody to pass the ball to, pass the puck, throw the basketball to. Like Brady throwing it to their end, or there's nobody to throw the ball to in boxing or MMA, and their only support is the fans that come to see them fight. That's their base.
Exactly.
And, just in closing here, unless you got any other questions.
I think I got, do we have one more question? I'm going to hit you with one more good question, Jimmy, and then I'm going to just say the contest, because you and the CES crew are giving away 2 tickets tonight. I'm going to ask a question with you on the line, and then I'm going to hang up with you, and I'm going to check the feeds to see who wins the question. But I'm going to throw them a little.
Hold on 1 minute before that question.
Yeah.
I just to everyone that follows you, from you to everyone, I just want your audience to get bigger and bigger. But here's what I'm saying: when people say, Jimmy, how did you do this for 25 years? I did it because of the fans coming and supporting us. Without our fans, there is no CES. There is no boxing. There isn't anything. And that's what I want to thank each and every, because, you know, some people that are blue collar, they might be taking 40 hours to come and see the fight, and they don't want to see a carnival act. They don't want to see somebody, they know who's going to win before the fight starts. They're taking money from their rent, their insurance, their utility, their taxes, so they want to be entertained, and that's Michael Parenti in boxing, Pat Sullivan in MMA, and their combinations together, we entertain the fans.
Exactly. They bring it, congratulations to them. Them are your matchmakers on both sides right there.
That's correct.
They are what brings the action. Make these fights possible, along with, CES. But, yeah, they're there. They're getting them fighters, matching them up. Kudos to them. You got an amazing team behind you, Jimmy. It's been going for decades, and it's going to go for many more to come. We got one more question, and then the contest, and then I'll just let you say bye and what's left to do. What's the question?
Michael Cesaroni wants to know what his relationship is with Ray Leonard.
Michael, your newest member of the team, wants to know, what's the man's name?
Michael Cerrone.
No, who's he wanting to know question?
Sugar Ray Leonard.
What he has to do? Say it again.
He wants to know what his relationship is with Sugar Ray Leonard.
What Jimmy's relationship is
Yes.
with. Michael Cicerone wants to know what your relationship with Sugar Ray Leonard is.
He's my brother. we're, that's all I can say. We love each other. He's my brother, one of the greatest fighters ever. I'll tell you how close we are. They surprised me at the 25th anniversary, and they had some major players on the video screen. They couldn't be there at the live event. And Ray Leonard said, he thanked me so much and everything. He said, wow, what memories we have. Some we can talk about and some we can't.
Them are some great memories, right? Them are some of the best ones right there, the ones you can't talk about, right?
Exactly.
All right, Jimmy, I'm going to give the question right now, and I'm going to throw a little curveball. We've been talking about boxing, a little bit about MMA, but you did mention one name in MMA, and that's what the question's going to be about, okay? So you mentioned Greg Ribs Rebello. So the question is, he just won the heavyweight world champion for CES. We want to know how he won that fight, what round, how many seconds, and what event it was. I need all of them questions answered, and you win 2 tickets for Friday night, which Greg will probably be there anyway to punch you in the head.
He'll be there.
Along with his dad, Kenneth, who's always at his shows. Kenneth's on now. But that is the question. I'm going to let Jimmy give a parting words, and that's it. So answer that question. First one that answers that question right gets the tickets. They'll be at the will call. I'll get your name, and then you'll enjoy the show Friday night. So Jimmy,
and tell whoever wins, we'll get them up to the private VIP party after, where all the fighters and celebrities and everything else come. I just want to leave with this. I don't want you to stop doing the tremendous. A lot of people do these podcasts, but when Mike said, I told him, I said, I'll do one. So get me the best person to do that with. And that's what we think of you. And when you said to me why you do this, not for any selfish reasons, but to help the young fighters both in MMA, and listen, you're going to have as much knowledge very quickly as you do in MMA in the boxing world. We need you. Everyone that listens to you, I just wanted to keep growing and growing. God bless you all. I love you. I hope to see you guys at the spectacular weigh-in tomorrow at Twin River at 5 o'clock. And most of all, let's do something together that Friday night at Twin River Casino, that if you haven't got your tickets and you don't get them tomorrow, this event is going to be sold out. That's how big this event is going to be.
Oh, last thing, Jimmy, it's going to be aired live. Is that correct also?
Yeah, it's going to, Jim Jr. could explain that all to you. It's going to be on Facebook and stuff. But we are very close. Well, listen, there's nothing like being there at a live fight. Okay? It's just going to be a great night. I mean, there's 10 fights on this card, all professional fights, and I'm excited about the card. I didn't talk about a few of other fighters on the card, and I don't want them to feel that because we could be on here for 2 days talking about this stuff. But I love you. I'm going to cut off now. Thank you, and anytime you need me on, I'm down.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. I'll see you at weigh-ins.
I'll see you tomorrow at the weigh-in.
You sure will, buddy. Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
God bless. Love you.
All right. Jimmy Sr. just made my 2017 into 18 and beyond. Jimmy Jr. is on right now. He can put how you can see this fight if it's going to be sold out. So we don't want, if you're sitting in the parking lot, at least you can watch it on your phone from Facebook. So as far as the question, I'm going to be checking my feeds later. Or if you guys already know the winner, anyone said it. So the question was, Greg Ribs Rebello just won the CES MMA heavyweight world title at their last card. How did he win? What round? How many seconds? And what event was it? That's 4 right there. 4 questions for 2 tickets and to be invited to the VIP after party with all the fighters after the event. So that's a big to do. Also, I'm going to be giving away these 2 pictures signed by whoever I can get at the weigh-ins tomorrow to sign, and we'll come out with a contest. More about that. And that's about my story. I got to get going. I got to get ready for tomorrow's weigh-ins and blowing up CES boxing the way I've been doing with CES MMA and everything else I cover. So I want to give a special shout out to Jared Tillinghast, Richard Capiello, the Brawl for It All crew, Jimmy Jr., Pat Sullivan, Mike Parenti, all the fighters. I'm going to miss millions of names because there's too many out there. I got to thank you, but thank you so much for letting me in, doing what I do. And like Jimmy says, and you can see and hear the passion in his voice about what he does. I can't wait for this event on Friday and to, bring you a little love and show some of our big boxers and local talent off. So with that said, join Domenico 101 MMA everywhere. The Room Podcast everywhere. I'd like to thank Jimmy Sr. for being on. This will be a picture given away. Bright lights, big fights, Friday, February 23rd, Twin Rivers Casino. Be there!